Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Console Gaming League's finals week here for Overwatch. I'm Corbec, joined here in the casting booth by Skateaction, who will also be handling our production for today's match. So thank you, Skate, for pulling double duty. Today for you on the docket at this time, T3 EU Finals for Xbox. About to go down, and these are the finals, not a divisional final or anything like that. This is the actual legitimate grand final game. Whoever walks away from this one will be walking away with the prize, with the title, hoisting the belt in the air, whatever have you. It's the Silhouette Tyrants versus the Overlords. Doing a little bit of thesaurus work there with these team names. Skate, how are you feeling today, buddy?
I'm feeling great. We are running a little bit behind, but never fear, we are going to get this match in and ready to see some EU action. This is my first time broadcasting for EU of any type, so I'll be curious to see what kind of happens and how the meta feels different versus maybe some of the NA counterparts in Tier 3. So I'm curious to get this thing rolling, and I think we're going to roll right in probably here in just a moment. It looks like map number 1 is going to be Lijiang Tower, though, as we will go ahead and take a look at the map screen here.
Yeah, Lijiang Tower, of course, the kind of one of the classic control maps of the game. So popular. I think this is pretty much, this and Ilios are probably about Tidescape for people's kind of favorite control map, or their go-to control map. Control, the great leveler, really, in a lot of ways in terms of skill, right? Teams that often play this, there's no fancy strategies, or there are some strategies, but not as fancy as you might see on a 2CP or an escort or hybrid, what have you. It's much more a brawl, and it's much more an opportunity for players to show off their individual wins. So it'll be interesting to see, or their individual sort of talent, I guess. It'll be interesting to see what they can muster here going into Lijiang.
Yeah, and unfortunately, first time being EU, I don't know a lot about these teams, so I don't know exactly what we're going to see as far as comps coming out and what to kind of look for. But we'll kind of play it by ear as this match develops. We'll have to see. We are just checking the pause, so no worries there before we roll on into this thing. We will be starting, I believe it's... what is the name of this one? I can't even remember. Garden? Is that it?
Gardens. Wow,
yes.
You are the second caster in 2 days, Kate, who has not known what the name of this particular stage is. It is indeed Gardens.
I never remember the names of these things.
I'm gonna try and pretend like the thumbstick didn't just pop off my Elite controller, and I definitely know exactly where it is. And
sure,
yeah,
it's right there.
Let's get started. One side running the Pharah here. That'll be Silhouette Tyrants in the blue. Going that Sim Teleporter, just helping him get a little bit of a boost, kind of compensating for the lack of Lucio. The Pharah coming out from Hizama as well, up there on the high, trying to get a couple of shots in as they move forward onto the point. Ritrix on the other side, firing in shots as well. And the two teams will coalesce relatively quickly on the point. It was a slow approach here for Overlords, despite that teleporter coming out of the gate. But they get the early pick on Centurion. Unfortunately, Banana Split will go down almost immediately. Hizama coming in over the top, trying to get some damage in, maybe clear out a little bit of space. They have to watch behind them, though. The opposing Pharah on the other side, pumping in the damage, and Welshi goes off the edge of the map. But I think that should just about end this one, Skate.
Yeah, it definitely should.
Well, that'll definitely end it.
Yeah, it definitely will. We have the pharmacy on the side of Silhouette Tyrants kind of pushing towards the big open side where the bridges are, and you can get some boosts with that rocket, your rocket ability that can boot. But it looked like there was a wall on the opposite side, the white room side, that Ashkasar set up on the side of Overlords, and it just cut the team off, and the Rhine was just free for the picking, along with the Zarya. They got kind of split, and that'll stop a push before it even starts when you get them separated with that wall.
Well, Ritrix has abandoned the Pharah here, going to come straight down the choke with the Reaper instead. Silhouette Tyrants just trying to fight this one out as the window comes in. Zuckboy goes down. That's 3 in quick succession there, with the window helping just a little bit to make this a little bit more one-sided. Jazziv going over the edge. Welsi, Ritrix falling down, and once more fight it over relatively quickly, and not looking particularly fussed on the side of Overlords.
No, I think they got a lot of value out of that Baptiste ultimate, that amplification matrix, as we heard it come out, and then the kill feed just filled with red, as there hasn't been an answer so far yet on the side of Silhouette Tyrants for what these DPS are doing. They're kind of making their presence known early on in this fight, so we'll have to see what adjustments they can make here, as we don't see any swap, or we see another swap, I should say, come out on Richard.
Well, up the gut again. Hizama hovering what I would call barrage position, and there it is. Forward for Hizama on the barrage. Make it 5. Finishes off Centurion at the tail end of all of that and lives through the whole thing. Ash Kassar, the only one to go down there, and that'll be another full reset. And Overlord Skate handling this with significant aplomb right now and a significant ult advantage.
Yeah, they're flexing that muscle, and I expect to see all these ults come out as we're in final territory. If they can even get a touch, and we're going to get a contest here. And it is going to be the Tracer of Richards who has swapped every single fight of this map.
Well, out comes the Gravitic Flux, drops Centurion straight down. The May Blizzard coming in as well. That'll put Richrix, my son, down. Zuck Boy can't survive very long there either in this hell of ultimates that's being unleashed. Jazib getting 1 kill with the high noon there on the back end. Jazib gets 2. Probably not enough for him to win the 1v5. Just the lone Lucio now trying to stall it out. And unfortunately, Welshie can't hold on. And that'll end that.
Oh my, that was impressive. That was a statement being made on the side of Overlord there to get us started. Just flexing that muscle. I like it.
Honestly, Skate, there was just too many, I feel like there was just too many swaps coming out on the side of Silhouette Tyrants. Yeah, they just kept switching up DPS, and I mean, their ult economy was terrible. It was just bad.
Yeah, and there was...
Oh, no.
Yeah, you got to question those DPS picks that they had, because Richrix, every single team fight was on something different. Let's hope they can find some stability and make this round a little bit more competitive, as we don't see that Pharah now on the side of Overlord, so we'll have to see if that helps them out any.
Straight into the server room, but they're going to get beat out here by Overlords, who are there first. Tyrants trying to push forward a little bit here. That May wall going up, creating a little bit of problem for Zuckboy, but not enough to really worry him. You see the May ice there just chipping away at the shield, but again, nothing too big. Richrix flanking around the outside edge, trying to get full advantage of the flank, and they will use that to get KMY out of the fight early on. As this boils on to the point, Centurion getting another kill as well. The initial advantage sitting in the hands of Tyrants here, but Overlord's trying to fight this one back. Tyrants, though, seem to be holding on to it. Even Hizama on the Reaper on the outside edge can't get anything done. And wow, Skate, without that Pharah, things have changed just a little bit.
Yeah, and it went to a little bit more of a brawl there on the first point in that initial fight, and Silhouette Tyrants just excelling in that brawl style, and that may be what they were looking for is that kind of setup. So if they can stay away from that Pharah of Overlord and maybe force them to switch here going forward, that may be what they're looking for, to just try and brawl on the point.
Oh, Coalescence coming out. We'll see the Death Blossom as well. That'll be 2 picks right here at the entryway. Centurion getting 2 more in that fight. And they'll send him packing again as Centurion picks up a 3rd there. And again, a solid door hold here. 1 ult in the bank on that Grav. 2-3 on the other side, though.
Yeah, and it looks like Overlord maybe have overstretched there and kind of got involved with that before the entire team was ready. They kind of went into it with only about 4 or 5 people ready to go. They did use the wall to try and set up here and try to counter Maywall, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Not a very good wall. Coalescence coming out hard, gets 1 pick there. Great jitter on the other side. Zuckboy comes charging forward. The Grav and Sound Barrier thrown in almost desperation-wise. It's a spectacular Maywall to protect them, but the counter Maywall is just as good. There's not enough team members there from Overlords, though, to capitalize on the trap.
Oh, nice
now the counter grab coming out from Overlords might just be enough. No, not a lot of value. No, here he comes. Zuckboy getting 1. Jazib in there as well. Centurion on the outside edge. And that, I think, should push them back out the front door. So both these maps looking incredibly swingy. Oh, no, they've walled off their right. He's walled off again. Zuckboy holding out by himself in the midst of the entryway. Will finally be let back into the club. He found his over 21 ID.
He did. They finally let him in.
Sorry, we're in Europe. It's lower there. They're not bad. Trying to run out. Maywall comes up. That's a great block. Maywall's doing great work here. Jazib getting that one in early on. A7 DNA coming in and contesting just a little bit. Death Blossom in the midst of everything, but it's Zuckboy who tries to turn it around. Hizama gets the 2, the counter Blossom comes out and gets a few as well, and now it's just a lone Coalescence from KMY getting some seriously needed picks, and at the end of the day, it's a Lucio and a Saria 1v1 on the point, and that Lucio gets grabbed slammed into the pillar, and they finally get him down, but not before the tanks of Overlord can trickle back in and continue this fight.
Oh my, this is madness on the point as we had the 1v1 is allowed the tanks to get back. No, the support is coming back as well for Overlord here as the Moira gets back into the fight. Shatter.
Oh, Shatter comes out, gets one. It's the ball. 8-7 DNA will be taken down here. The fight's still boiling. Lucio back on to try and contest, but Lord Advisory not able to pull it out that time. Still, great effort there by Overlords, despite this being a pretty solid 100% to 0. So, really swinging back and forth here, Skate.
A tale of two maps, I guess. I don't know what we're in store for here on Night Market, but we've had a little bit of everything here. We'll have to see if Overlord decides to go back to that Pharah maybe here, but it looks like both teams are set on the Symmetra strategy going into this map. Very popular, so we'll have to see which route, though, that the teams take. I think the preferred method is just going right through the front there and TPing up top to see what happens, but we'll see.
It really is popular. We've seen pretty much every team on Lijiang Tower so far in the finals running some variation of this at least once, usually in these initial stages, and then a swap will come in. So it does have a little bit of an effect on, negative effect on the ult economy. Looks like Overlord's got theirs up slightly faster. Silhouette Tyrants, though, they're not far behind as the point boils down onto a fight. It looks like it's relatively even. A couple of Maywalls getting thrown in early on. No real value coming out of that, but Ritrix will go down here, so one sim down. And that allows a little bit of room for Hazama to get those turrets set up, which I think is effectively shut the Tyrants out of position. Again, the Maywalls coming almost on top of each other. The Overlords and Tyrants just brawling here. Tyrants came back on. Zuckboy didn't want to give it up. Still, the take has already happened at this point in time. This fight is 100% just ticking up percentage points for the Overlords, who come in with the Shatter on the backside, and that'll just clear the deck there. Banana Spliff getting that Shatter early on and making it stick.
What a name. You didn't even trip over it. I love it. It was a big Shatter at the end to clean up the 3K, but it looked like the positioning of Overlord is what paid off there. Both teams came out almost identical, and those turrets just forced Silhouette Tyrants off of the point. They didn't really have a way to contest those turrets. They were well placed by Hazama.
Well, pressing into the sim, always a bit of a daunting endeavor. You can see they've actually switched off. Ritrix on that Junkrat now to give him a little bit of extra spam damage. Through the door there, and the Gravitic Flux is going to come out early. It's a good wall as well. The beat will come in. Zuckboy will get that, and Ritrix gets two, and that might be the great leveler here as Zuckboy swinging for the fences opens up a couple more kills for his team, and they'll send Hazama packing on the outside edge to get the flip. So finally, Skate, I think the first map we've seen where both teams have percentage on the point.
Yeah, we got a game, folks. As we saw Zuckboy.
We got a game.
Kind of come flying off the top rope with that charge right into ACDNA and get the kill. That was wild. He actually got stuck with the Gravitic Flux and got cut off from his team. But a great Zarya bubble on the side of Centurion was able to help keep him up and keep that push going and get that point.
Well, back to point now. The swap has come in. Hazama no longer on that sim. Will be playing McCree. Finding around the outside doors, throws the Shatter, gets one with it, but I don't know how they will. Lord Advisory will go down. Zuckboy, though, huge counter Shatter there by Banana Spliff. And he'll charge straight in. And can this Coalescence keep them in the fight? The Maple Blizzard on the entrance is very effective, but is the damage here to follow it up? Not so much, though. Centurion finally starting to make their presence felt on that Zarya. Glowing like they bathe in nuclear waste and getting the picks as well. Zuckboy comes charging in on the backside. Zuckboy going ham there, pushing up into the enemy spawn.
I love this
full
aggression.
Berserker mode.
Zuckboy is just playing ruthless right now, and the aggression is on high. Gas pedal is all the way down, and he's just letting it rip. I love it, and Centurion is feeding off of it, just playing right on his hip and staying at a super high charge this whole time to run that buzzsaw that is the Zarya beam. So we'll have to see what answers that Overlord has if we're going to engage here through the front of the garden.
It's a good wall, and Zuckboy will get destroyed almost immediately. The Blizzard, unfortunately, not as effective. They're pushing out of the point now, though. Zuckboy being taken out of the fight, obviously big, but Jazib's going to even it up with the help of Centurion. The beat comes in there to cancel out the grab. This fight not looking particularly good for Tyrants at the moment. Ritrix, though, turning it around. Ritrix again with the pulse bomb and the kill on Hazama. Might just be able to pull this off as Zuckboy comes back in. Now a coalescence getting unleashed here, though, should be the deciding factor in this one. And the few remaining members, oh no, Welshie. Oh, pretend we didn't see that. Just a bit of, missed the wall. Those damn rollerblades can't always work.
Yeah. I mean, the A7 helped out a little bit with that. That's why you saw it pop up at the kill feed and such. There was a little bit of a friendly diva booster boop. So
a love tap,
a little nudge,
as it were.
Rubbin's racing.
Yeah. Just letting him know he's there, as they would say for other sports. Oh, Diva Bomb out down the middle. Wall comes in to try and catch him. It gets Centurion. That's a big pick to take down the Zarya early on. The counter made Wall trying to catch out Banana Split. Not quite as effective, but now the kills are starting to pile up again, and it's this trading back and forth that both these teams have shown on all these points. 94-95 ticking up as they come charging on. Here's Tyrants, though, and Tyrants are winning this one out. The Blizzard comes out, but it's really just KMY holding on, and they're not going to be able to sustain. Even as the Reinhardt comes back in, Banana Split can't contest. And at the end of 2 runaways, oh, nope, spoke too soon. In comes A7 DNA, trying to keep it alive on the ball. Can't get back through the door, though. Good boop by Welshie to keep him outside, and Tyrants will take map number 1 in a very strange series there on Lijiang.
Oh man, we might have our hands full with this one, trying to keep track of the back and forth action, given what we just saw in Lijiang. But great job by both teams all around. That one coming right down to the wire, and just, you know, it's a game of inches sometimes, and with this map, it came out on the side of Silhouette Tyrants. We'll have to see what the pick is for the hybrid map coming up next.
Yeah, wow, great job by Welshie there. 25 offensive assists, 42% kill participation, and of course Centurion getting all those high damage kills. And when you see those stat cards, obviously it does kind of make you feel like the win was deserved there for Tyrants. But that was weird. I mean, we had a first map, the first two maps were swingy, and then that last map was super close. So that bodes well, I think, here for Final Skate. Hopefully we'll have some high-flying action coming out of these teams pushing forward.
Yeah, that's what you expect to see out of a final. Go ahead and look for your I guess you're looking for your stick for your...
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right
I'll fill and vamp while you try to find your stick so you can follow this action. It's, you know, it's live broadcasting, folks. This is what happens sometimes. But we do have the 1-0 lead for the Silhouette Tyrants, I think. You know, don't go anywhere. Buckle up. This is going to be a good one for the EU side. I'm very excited for this to be my first EU broadcast, so hopefully we get a lot of great action. We don't want to see anybody, you know, get 4-0'd in one of these actions being the grand final. This is what it's all down to. You played 9 weeks of a regular season out and the battle all the way through the playoffs, and all of it comes down to this one set. So hopefully the nerves have kind of shaken off, and that could have been what we saw a little bit in the beginning with the constant swapping of the DPS. There could have been some nerves involved. That can happen in these kind of situations. You don't know what the player's going to do coming out. Corbec, any luck with that?
You know, I didn't quite find the stick that I lost, but I have one of those fancy little magnetic replacements, you know, so it's a little bit better than just jamming my thumb on the shard of metal here to try and rotate it around. Looking back on that map though, Skate, I mean, I think one of the more interesting things is when things finally started to settle down. I know you were talking about nerves a little bit, and maybe that was something to do with it. When things finally started to settle down there on Night Market, the two sides were pretty evenly matched. I mean, most of those fights were just straight back and forth kill trading.
Yeah. And
we saw that on Control Center as well.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I think initially that may have been what it was, and then you had, you know, in Ritrix, we talked about how Ritrix kept swapping DPS every time, and it may have been, you know, you get those kind of nerves and you just like, oh, I gotta help right away, and you just want to swap, and we don't know obviously what they're being told, obviously in the team chat either, that may be in the play, but you can only speculate at this point, and that could have been what it was. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it was, being that I've been in that situation before, and you just start panicking at times, and you just gotta settle in, and hopefully both teams are settled in, and we're gonna see a nice even matchup here the rest of the way.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, I think it does stand to reason that these teams can be quite close. I mean, we saw that fight that just came down to the two players on the point, the Lucio and the Zarya at one point in time, which I guess just goes to show you, yeah, how frequent or how right on point they were in terms of their kill trading on Control Center there. You know, we have interesting little note here in the sense that Tyrants only have one substitution player, but Overlord has pretty much a full team on the bench right now that they could sub in if need be, which is interesting. I mean, in these first of 4 games, especially if they're close, fatigue is 100% a thing. Even down at this level of play, right? We generally tend to think of fatigue as a pro play thing. But if fatigue exists,
there is also, the little caveat of, sometimes those players will sit on the bench and they warmed up probably before this started, and they might sit there for 3 or 4 maps, and then you got to wonder, is it even worth bringing them in because they've just sat there for an hour and a half, not really doing anything. So that comes into play at a certain point.
Yeah, it is an interesting factor as well, and something that we take into account. I mean, I think you would find in a lot of the pro leagues that people generally tend to have their subs still playing the game in the background. Not something that tends to happen down here. For those of you who are wondering why I was holding my headphones to my ears, because the cord is very short, and I was trying to extend my search radius of where my little thumbstick could be. If anybody sees one of these anywhere, it belongs to me.
If anybody finds one, please turn it into Lost and Found.
Yeah, if anybody finds one on the floor, just turn it into Lost and Found or bring it back to me directly. So there we go. It's funny, Skate. We talk about fatigue, we talk about substitutions, we talk about the players on the bench, and it'll be interesting. I don't think we've actually seen any swaps here on this initial run. It looks like the same crew will be going into Hollywood, which is going to be our next map. This will be the pick from Tyrants. I think Tyrants has also chosen to attack here, coming in. Which is always a bit of an interesting decision. I think it's a perennial debate among Overwatch players who is what side is theoretically better, right? Do you want to be the defender or you want to be the attacker? And I'm sure some Overwatch genius like Cressy could tell me, statistically speaking, which is better.
Yeah, I would love to see raw numbers, kind of percentages on how, attacking first versus defending first. I've always been a fan of the defend first. It is probably because I'm a big college football fan, so I know we have a lot of EU folks watching, but in North America, in college football, we actually have an overtime system where both teams actually kind of have the offense, and you want to go defense first so that you know what you need to match on the offensive side. So there is that philosophy that I kind of buy into when it comes to attack or defend first.
Yeah, fair enough. I myself a similar school that defense should usually come first. I think if you can get a full hold on the first point, it does take a lot of pressure on your team, or off your team, I should say. But I can also see, I guess, the inherent value in trying to get it all the way up on the initial attack, right? So that there's something to be said for that as well.
Yeah, and it's some people just want to carry that momentum, and I understand that argument as well, because Overwatch tends to be a game of momentum at times, as crazy as that sounds.
No, I mean, it's very accurate, and maybe we'll see that on display here as they begin to push up through the initial choke. Zuckboy trying to get forward, and they're taking, a little bit less standard route here, actually going through CCTV rooms, so you don't usually see this push, even though in a lot of ways it does make a bit more sense, cutting down on the damage received. Unfortunately, not a lot they can do about Hizama up there on the far, though they will force Banana Split to come off the high ground. They've also had to deploy the Immortality Field, but it's Ritrix going down early on by Hizama in the backline. And Hizama on this far, an absolute plague, but he'll get destroyed there in a split second. Ash, Hizama, and KMY all taken down in the blink of an eye. And now it's just Banana Spliff and DNA trying to hold on to this one. Fortunately, they still have Lord Advisory on the Baptiste to try and help them close this down. And as Centurion gets picked off, that should signal an end. For any remaining, even as they say that though, there's a thought there by Zuckboy. He thinks about that one before showing them his heels and getting back to regroup with the team, which honestly, Skate, probably the wise decision in those circumstances.
It probably is, and we saw Hizama on this far. I think Ritrix had an issue with controller or something going on in the background, because just as I went to spectate him for the stream, he stopped moving, and I thought it was a disconnect, but all of a sudden, right before he died, he started moving again, and it was able to come back. So I don't know if there was a controller issue that Ritrix saw that kind of opened that up to start that defense, but back and forth, we'll have to see what Silhouettes can do to set this up.
Oh, that's a big pick at the beginning because Hizama turned it around. No, he only gets one. They'll throw in the beatdown bongo here. It's melted almost immediately. They're going to toss in the blizzard as well, and that blizzard of ults, that absolute flurry of ultimates should secure them this point. Though at what cost, Skate?
Yeah,
cost is about
what was
3
that,
ults.
7 ults, I think, looking at the percentage beaters, I'm going to guess. That was wild, but, you know, sometimes you just got to get that payload and get it moving, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the streets phase, I guess it would be, of Hollywood here, with over 4 minutes in the time bank. A lot of time working here to get that second point.
Pushing forward up to the choke point here. Not a far up hold here. They're taking a more middle ground approach. They have that Ashe on the high ground. That's Hizama now off the Pharah. Window coming out early on. That's a good play here, but they'll actually rotate right out around it, going around the bank dry goods store here to try and come up the backside. The high ground has been surrendered to Ritrix now, who seems more than happy, Skate, to kind of hold on to that one and pump a little bit of damage in.
Oh!
They're flanked all the way around behind, and Lord Advisory, I don't think quite expected that. The Maywall comes in to try and slow him down, but it's a very solid blizzard on the other side for them to turn this around, and Jazip Gamer might just have saved the day a little bit there by throwing that ultimate out when they did. That's giving them enough pressure where they think they can go forward. I'm sorry, I should have credited that, was that Jazib or Ash Kassar there to throw that out? Bob coming in down the middle. Bob chunking away at the damage, and I think that should just about seal this for now and force the regroup.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a reset here. 3 minutes and counting. Not much working on the street phase attack for Silhouette Tyrants. 2 ults online for them, though. They do have that Graviton Surge, which could make all the difference here, but I expect this Gravitic Flux to come out.
Oh, no, Ritrix, my son.
Oh, it's 5.
It's taken out early. There's the Gravitics as well, and Hizama takes the opportunity to take out Ritrix as well. Both the Ritrix names there taken down. Multi-generational slaughter. As Ash Kassar gets in on the action as well. And again, apologies, Ash. I did not mean to rob you of your very valid blizzard that I believe you threw out there.
It happens. It happens. But, you know, the animations are funny sometimes. Zuckboy tried to charge out, ran right into the pole as soon as he died, and just kind of flopped over.
Oh! Ritrix on the Echo, trying to come around the outside edge, got slapped down by Hizama, and now they'll throw in the grab, and really they got nothing out of it because it's another spectacular blizzard there by Ash Kassar, who opens up the gates here for them to push forward and basically solidify the defense. And I think Ritrix might want to reconsider that Echo pick, considering how quickly Hizama turned around and popped him one.
Hizama's playing a great game so far on that DPS. We saw the Pharah making some noise earlier on, now switching to this Ashe and getting a lot of value out of this Ashe and just countering it. We see Ritrix heeding your advice, switching to the Reaper here. But these teams not holding ults very long. The Y buttons are getting pressed fast and furious right now.
Well, the window comes out early. They'll push forward here with the blizzard as well to deal with the immortality field. DNA will go down. Lord Advisory going down as well, but it's a good pop on the backside. Gets Ritrix, my son. Now the beat coming out from Welsh. Should allow them to extend this one enough that they could win it. If not for Hizama, the Ashe again.
Oh, God.
This
Hizama.
DPS, an absolute stall machine at the moment, getting those big picks. Unfortunately, the effort just a little bit too late there. Despite the value of those elims, it does slow down this push by half a tick here, Skate. That will slow them down for just a second.
Yeah, we saw Hizama use Bob to start that fight. Already 64% back to another Bob. We're about to see it. I mean, it's a Bob every fight.
Came down off the high rope, got a kill in the backline with a little bit of help there on Lord Advisory, but Ritrix goes down almost immediately.
There it is.
I hear Gravitic Flux, but I don't really see a Gravitic Flux, and I think that was because DNA got picked out of mid-air. Now Lord Advisory will go down. The charge coming forward here. Centurion with 3. Centurion, what is that? 11-11?
I'm going to say yes. Or is it
Roman numerals? What are they?
Yeah, I don't know, but Centurion just batting cleanup.
No. Hizama really playing a dominant DPS game at the moment, but not
big
enough
immortality
to save his team. Gravitic Flux comes in, but Centurion goes down. Hizama saving the day.
Oh my God!
Yes. DNA gets picked out of it though, and it's a great shatter on the other side as the Blizzard comes in. They'll get multiple targets in that. Can they finish them off? Go for the sports. They have to get this Mercy at least. They do. Lord Advisory and KMY both go down as Jazib Gamer steps up on the back of that huge Blizzard and pushes this one forward. So as quickly as Hizama tries to turn things around, out comes Jazib and Ritrix to even it right back up.
Oh my God, what an immortality field by Lord Advisory as A7 DNA was stuck, the only one able to, you know, contest that payload, and stuck on an island, gets the immortality out that actually saves him from Zuckboy being able to kill him. Then we saw Hizama just come in with those kills, but it wasn't enough as the DPS were able to survive for Silhouette Tyrants and get this thing all the way home.
Great Maywall there to shut down a lot of the effectiveness of the window. Ritrix is above though. He probably has a Death Blossom in his pocket. He thinks about using it there, but he pulls out. There he comes on the backside. KMY goes down. It's a trade they'll take at this stage as they use it as an opportunity to aggress here. The Tyrants wasting no time in pushing forward. The Accretion coming off the backside gets one, but it's a good Gravitic.
Oh man.
Oh, the sound barrier cancels it out though. You hate to see it. Excellent beat. Over the top comes another May Blizzard on the other side, and that could spell disaster for Zuckboy at least. Still getting a little bit of healing there. Well, she will go down. The fight's still boiling. There's going to be no real reset time here for the folks from Tyrants. They have to continue this fight as another window comes out, but it's a little too far forward as Zuckboy and Centurion charge forward. And again, it's the lone gunman Hizama trying to turn it around. Can't quite make it stick though as A7 DNA is sent packing by a rock from Centurion. He put a rock in that one.
They need to focus up here and regroup because he can't get another contest here. Hats off to Ritrix, my son, I think is how we're saying that. Not my son, Ritrix, my son, for keeping the tanks up with that coalescence in that fight.
Whoa, Ritrix getting a pick. Gravitic Flux coming in, and they're still brawling. Sorry to talk over you, Skate, but it just never ends with these guys. Centurion, Zuckboy combining for some big picks, and Ritrick to seal the deal with a little bit of help there from Jazib. Oh my lord.
They don't stop. I don't think there's been a full reset the entire map. I think they've been soft resets the whole time. We've got 5. We're good enough. The 6 will get here.
Resets? What are those? Those
yeah,
are
who
nothing.
needs those?
Resets are for the weak. They'll just charge straight into the jaws of death again and again and again, as it seems to be the strategy. You know, this has been very interesting to me, Skate. I think that Hizama right now looks like he's the superior DPS on the field in so many ways. Agreed. That Ashe was incredibly deadly. But at the end of the day, the folks from from Tyrants always just seem to manage to pull it out, whether it's the combined efforts of Ritrix and Jazib, whether it's Centurion, you know, just making the plays that they need to do it. And it's almost like the other sort of positional players on the side of Overlords can't quite hang in a lot of these initial engagements.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. And I think, you know, the tank line is really getting, the tank line of Silhouette Tyrants is really getting the best of the tank line of Overlord. And it's just not enough for Hizama to kind of overcome that because it's too little too late by the time those picks come in. Those tanks are just flexing their muscle and creating that space, and there's nothing for the rest of the team to do. But, you know, I think the early leader for play of the game was Centurion with that 3K that was preempted by eating the Blizzard of Ash Kassar. Yep. So, you know, what a massive play to keep that push going on that second point.
Yeah, Centurion really stepping up here. Now we'll see how they do on the defense. The attack coming in. A7 DNA there kind of leading the charge, throwing a couple of orbs up to the high ground. Will get a pick. Lord Advisory goes down. Ritrix is traded out as well, so a support for support here. Probably rather lose, I think, the Zenyatta than the Mercy, all things being considered, but I think it was an essential part of their strategy, if I'm being honest, Skate. They're going to rotate up to the high ground here, and that means the Zen player, Lord Advisory, is basically going to be left out in the cold.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this is going to work, as he's going to be left on an island, like you said. Nice Maywall there to get this started.
They drop down to help him out. Now Centurion 21 or 11-11 taken out early. That's Ritrix going down as well. 2 big kills here. Even as Centurion is res back in. The window coming out, that gives a lot of opportunities for Hazama to chuck in the damage. It forces everybody on the opposing team into cover right now. The least Welsh he can do is hide behind those boxes and pray. He's going to jump up there. Pretty lucky Hazama wasn't on the beat, as they'll throw down the immortality field in the window, but it's A7 making the big play to push up, try and get the value out of that window by just pushing straight up into their face. Now a bomb comes out for Hazama, pretty much uncontested, but they're not on the point.
Yeah, they were not on the point most of that time, that they were stuck back in that corner. That was kind of a bad decision. You needed to push up and just die there,
an A7.
Or fight it out.
A7 getting a nice little 3 kills there at the end. But man, Skate, what a mistake. If you're going to play in the back corner like that and try and toe the line with the Orisa, you actually have to toe the line.
Yeah, that toe needs to be on the line. That's literally what toe the line is. Put the toe on the line.
You got to get that little, you got to get the hoof. You just got to get the little robo hoof
just a
over the
piece
edge.
of it. Just a piece of it.
Bomb coming out now on the opposite side, kind of got placed right in front of the shield, but the bomb goes down quickly there. Gravitic Flux big on the backside, and there's not a whole lot they can do about the damage that came in from that. It's good immortality field there to prevent any instantaneous deaths. A7 DNA pushing forward again, and a May Blizzard gets thrown in here, and that'll open everything up. Again, Ash Kassar throwing in a good May Blizzard. We've really only seen him kind of bottle one Skate. Otherwise, they've been very impactful.
Yeah, this payload is just rolling. It hasn't stopped once it started going, so this has been an impressive attack by Overlord. As you know, we saw that kind of messed up by Silhouette Tyrants by not being on the point, but all the momentum going the way of Overlord, and they do have the ult economy here, and a nice wall is going to probably prevent this.
Oh, Suckboy annihilated as the Blizzard comes out the backside. But Hazama's operating with 3 space here, makes it count by taking out Ritrix. The fight kind of boiling off the point again, and that's no good there if you're the defenders, because they're going to touch that one through again. The cart, where is it? They need it.
Yeah, a little bit more of a heads-up play by Silhouette Tyrants is what we need. We need them to focus on the point right here if you're on that side. But Overlord just doing what they do best right now, and that's just swarming. They're swarming this as soon as anybody from Silhouette Tyrants comes out there. They're great communication right now and great team firing to get these kills and get them fast before the support can keep them up.
Another window coming down, so that's a good damage boost in there. Rock comes through the middle of the bag, causing some havoc, but it's Ritrix again! Hazama, unstoppable. The
nice
beast
bomb
on this Ash, just creating absolute havoc, and that is a great bomb there, positioned slightly behind the team. And once more, if you look at where they've been forced to rotate on the backside of this trailer, that is not where you want to be. And the Gravitic Flux coming out right now is going to teach them a painful lesson as they need to get forward and stall at this court, but it's Ritrix now who's returning the favor, and suddenly the kill feed lights up so red it would make Stalin blush as they push forward.
Wee, Ritrix making the huge swap, both DPS swap on the side of Silhouette Tyrants. That Junkrat's getting all kinds of value against that Orisa. Just basically going to say, Orisa, you don't get a shield when we fight this time, so we're going to make you fight us without that shield. So we'll have to see if there's any counter that Overlord wants to have to that, or if there's initially they're just going to push through since they are close on that Blizzard of Ash Kassar.
Oh, a big pick early on. Jazid Gamer gets caught out by Lord Advisory. Gotta be feeling pleased after that one. Now the push coming forward. Tire unleashed almost point blank, and a Gravitic Flux gets massive value. The Tire, I don't think really got any value, but that's okay. The fight continuing here, and really a lot of damage being chucked in over the side by Ritrix. That'll force the Transcendence out. They're going to use this just to try and buy them some space. Centurion 11-11 on the outside edge, throwing in the damage, but it'll be Ritrix who goes down first. Bob coming in on the backside. Chunky Bob shots going in on the back end there.
Yeah.
And it should... Oh, hello! Dragon's not big enough, though. Not enough to counter out the indomitable, the unstoppable Hazama the Ash. That Blizzard coming up does nothing.
That
and they'll push it through with 2 minutes, 32 seconds.
That immortality was enough to do it. I didn't see the immortality until after I had spoken. The dragons were out, but there was an immortality to keep everybody up through that. What a play there by the Baptiste, just dropping that one. He felt the pressure coming on, and then the Dragons coming out. So the rest is history, as it were. But Ritrix, I think on that initial push, it looked like I was kind of staying wide there on that team push. May have been playing a little bit too far forward there, playing in front of the Orisa. And you'd need that Junkrat to stay up in this lineup. Your job is to stay back and make sure that Orisa shield's going down. And the second he fell, it was like the floodgates were open on the side of Overlord, and they just pounced.
It's really been a very aggro playstyle with the Orisa coming out here from Overlords. And Tyrants, honestly, don't really seem to have much of a... They're not ever comfortable. And whether that's Hizama, who's kind of just creating havoc by hitting all those big shots, whether it's the aggro playstyle, it's the second map now where I've kind of felt like Silhouette Tyrants haven't yet really found their feet. They kind of did at the end there on that 3rd-point defense. You felt that they were stabilizing, and they burned, I think, a good 3 minutes off the clock at the end. But it took all the way basically to the VIP parking spot before we really saw them put some steel in their spine and actually make a stand.
Yeah, I think they have finally made that decision to go ahead and have somebody on a Junkrat. They're just going to try and deny Banana Spliff any kind of room he wants to take with that shield and try and counter it that way. We'll have to see if that is the play moving forward for Silhouette Tyrants and what Overlord has to do to overcome that. But based on what I saw, there's not a lot they're going to have to do, as it looks like a very similar push to what we saw last time going up to the high ground.
Indeed, they'll take that high ground early on there. You see them just trying to get in some more kills in the poke phase, which is where they've kind of been thriving. Hizama there culling a couple of shots in. The shields are staying up relatively well through all of this, but they do really need to continue to hold that corner. They're kind of sending Centurion out on the front edge there, testing the waters, as it were, but it'll be Ash Kassar who goes down first. That'll be Zuckboy getting that kill. Again, the barrier war continuing apace, this poke phase going on for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah,
they can't quite get the kills they want.
I don't know if anybody's even been on the point yet to contest this at all, but yeah, it's kind of a long-range war going on here. We got some aerial warfare. Let's, as we see Bob coming in, I think it's about to change on the back of that Bob coming into the point.
Oh no, they need to touch the window coming out. It's forcing him into a difficult position, caught between the rock and the window, or the Bob and the window, I should say. The tire far too late. And yep, again, Overlord will take that win, and largely because they could not toe the line on the point.
Yeah, again, it just positioning just failing Silhouette Tyrants right now. Just got to get your head in the game there and realize the situation, and teammates, you got to help them out when you can. Sometimes those tanks don't know exactly where their foot is, and they're too focused on what's in front of them. That's one of those things where the communication is key. You just got to step up and say something. Hey, just move up a little bit. We just need you on the point. That's all you got to do. So I hope that doesn't end up costing them too much there, because you hate to see it twice in a row there. But it is what it is at this point, and Overlord has tied this thing up at one apiece.
Something really interesting, I think, that's worth commenting on here, Skate, is that clearly Overlord has kind of been watching their Overwatch League. They're running, I think, what a lot of people would consider the meta composition right now, or close to it, right? You have the Baptiste Zen heal. You have the Ashe for the amazing poke damage. She's very, very good right now. Yep. And then you have the double barriers, so you can kind of extend those poke phases and get picks. And I mean, we would often talk about, you know, a meta that happens in the Pro League doesn't always trickle down, right, to effectiveness down here in, let's say, you know, Diamond, low Masters, whatever it may be. But when you have a talented player like Hizama on the Ashe, when you have players that can actually make the difference, you can really get a lot of value out of it. And I think that's what we saw on that map that we didn't necessarily see on Lijiang Tower, was them leaning into that pro meta kind of comp and just running it for all it's worth. And it's a very difficult composition to get past. You and I experienced this basically in our playoff match, and it in the same tier band, obviously NA, but a very similar composition. And it's a tall order. It's really hard to break through it, even if you try and mirror it. It's not easy.
Yeah, there's not a lot of answers to it, and that's what we found out. And in our case, we just hadn't seen it. And I don't know if maybe that's the case on the side of Tyrants, if they're just not used to seeing that. And if you don't know how to see it, it does take a little bit of adjusting, because you do have to attack it a little bit differently. You really can't just brute force it down. It's got to be a little bit more methodical. So we'll have to see if those swaps get made. It looks like we are going to head into Temple of Anubis here for the assault map, as we have a 1-1 tie going into it. And let me make sure I've got all the sides ready before I give the okay for them to run in.
I mean, it is worth pointing out, right, that we're talking about this almost as if Tyrants are kind of out of the match, but they're not out of the match at all. It's a 1-1 tie. They took that first map, I think largely because Control just didn't favor the kind of playing style that we really saw Overlords liking to play. Now,
Right.
Overlords have made a swap here. They've taken out Ash Kassar, who was playing that very, very good May, very aggressive, very well-timed Blizzards, and they've replaced them with Legend Dionysus. So interesting to see where I guess the idea for this swap comes through and exactly how they're going to use it here as they move into Temple of Anubis. Whether it indicates that they're going to step away from the May play, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how that plays out into Temple. Temple is one of those maps that you have a lot of set things that you like to do on defense and attack, so that's probably what that swap was. It's just a personnel swap kind of thing. You have somebody that just rides with those roles you need a little bit better, so you bring them in. It's not out of the ordinary, so we'll have to see what they set up with here on Temple of Anubis, as it was the choice of Overlord, and they chose to defend, so they wanted to defend first. We'll have to see if that was the case.
I appreciate it. I'm watching this webcam back, and there's a bit there where your mouse just orbits around my face.
Oh, was there? It was because
I click on me too, to be fair.
Oh, I didn't even realize, because it's actually a window capture, so it's actually underneath everything on my screen. So as I'm changing the score on the same monitor that window's on, is apparently just hovering over your face. Oh, I see it now. I can do it.
Love it.
It happens.
Hey, you can make it look like you're picking my nose with the cursor next time. Let's
Big brain.
let's add some diversity to this content.
Might as well.
That we're pushing out here. Trying to ignore the fact that my latency is currently 192. Good thing that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, good thing we're just casting. I don't have to hit anything. Yeah, I'm at 140, so.
Man. Anyway,
Of course,
we'll see what they're coming out here.
2,000 miles farther.
That is also true. Yeah, actually. We see what we're coming out here with, and they've forfeited kind of the Zenyatta on the defense in favor of a damage boost from KMY. Whether or not they choose to change this up later on, we'll see. The double shield, though, will be sticking. Meanwhile, on the other side, going for a sort of double sniper here, they've got the Ashe and the Hanzo, so the mid-range snipers, as it were, trying to push through the door. Interestingly enough, they're okay. Wow.
Yeah, I don't have words for that. That was a great trap. Nobody picked up on the trap, and Legend Dionysus just kind of raining in those grenades, doing a lot of the work there, as he's already at 88% to ult, so that was almost all his damage.
Jesus.
There. So, fire online.
I don't even know what to make of that. That was awful. They just disappeared. There was a sudden flash of light, and the entirety of the lineup there from Tyrant just went back to the spawn door. They'll cover on the left-hand side here, but it's Ritrix going down early to Hizama. A scene that we've seen multiple times tonight. Now Centurion trying to push things forward as a cheeky tire coming over the top edge. Not a lot they can do about that one. It will take Welshie out of the equation. Still enough of them in this, they can continue to fight as Ritrix has actually swapped over to a May here. So they've given up on the idea of running the Ashe into the Ashe, and are instead opting for everyone's least favorite Ice Queen instead.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and use that wall a little bit aggressively to try and create some space against this Junkrat, maybe, because that Orisa shield and Sigma shield just are not cutting it right now. There it is, the wall right on cue. It looks like they're going to push under
and there's
the
a
bridge.
Bob there as well. A trap catches the main tank back, and there's it's the Coalescence will keep him up, and they'll actually get a pick. Stuckboy does finally go down to Hizama's Bob, but not until after a lot of damage is done. Now in a slightly disadvantaged position, pushing on to the point. The damage coming in from both Banana Split and Hizama, though, should be enough for them to turn this around, though definitely for a second there. Things looked a little dodgy. But when you've got Hizama up on the high ground relatively uncontested, it's not a lot you can do.
Yeah, still no answer for Hizama on that Ashe. That has been the the move of the match so far, just moving Haizama over that Ashe and just giving Haizama a pocket and letting him rain. And that's been the difference. There's just no answer on the side of Silhouette Tyrants. I'm not sure what exactly they need to do right now to counter this, if they just need to change everything up and maybe go back to what we were talking about, where they kind of mirror the comp of Overlord here and see if they can get the best of it.
Whoop. Gravitic's out early. That might almost cost Welshi a life. There's an immortality field thrown in there as well, trying to keep Banana Spliff up. It does not work, but another bomb coming out from Haizama, and it's been all bombs all day. Gravitic Flux up in the air, dropping down. Far too little, too late. And once more, the fine folks there at Silhouette Tyrants are forced to go back to the spawn and reconsider their life choices.
Yeah, if you're going to make any changes, now's the time to do it, because you're not going to get a lot more pushes. This is probably your last push, given the way the time bank goes, and if this thing drags out at all, I don't know that you will get a second. So this is final fight territory. You do want to win it here, so any changes you need to make, now's the time to do it. And it doesn't look like we're going to have much other than the tanks. It looks like we got a Rhine Diva, so the Diva probably going to try and pressure that Ashe a little bit more, eat that dynamite.
And the tire to start us off. That'll take out both supports right at the beginning. That's good night, Irene, as far as we're concerned here. The tire just comes in, shuts it down.
My Haizama.
There was an attempt by Jazeev to get up there on the high ground and maybe shut down Haizama, but too little, too late. And that is curtains there for Silhouette Tyrants.
I don't know if you saw that, Corbec, but I had just switched to Haizama as the Reaper teleported up, and it was a coach gun into a headshot combo there as the Reaper was falling. It was just filthy, but the DPS huge on the side of Overlord right now, getting all the big plays. That tire was massive. You get both supports, and that push is stopped before it ever gets a chance to start. You can't do anything at that point.
Yeah, that was almost that was almost predictable. Like, we almost knew that we would see that, I think, truth be told. I'm a little bit surprised it took them so long to walk out the Diva. You would think that the Diva would be kind of a natural pick here to help contest that high ground at least a little bit and try and buy your team some space, but it's taken them a very long time to get it out into the world. On the defense, they're going to stick with kind of a standard setup. I got a little confused there for a second. I keep forgetting who's attacking and who's defending.
Well, now we have Overlord attacking. Overlord is in the blue currently.
Blue, red colors.
I presume.
What are they really?
You still have default colors. I say that as if you can't change the colors. You can definitely change them.
I definitely got a little confused there at the start. I feel like there's a lot of explosions going on.
If you're the kind of person that actually just flips them and inverts them so that your red is blue and your blue is red.
Oh, God, why would you do that to yourself? That's
There's
terrible.
probably someone that does.
Oh, some monster.
Yeah.
I mean, there are still people who full-time main Symmetra, so we know they exist. Moving around the outside edge here, going straight up to the high ground. They have effectively bypassed any attempt at a hold, and it's taking too long to rotate. They have to go a little bit quicker than that. You can't just stand here in the street. You need to move.
Oh,
the rest of the team's
Urissa's on island here. You got to get with Urissa.
Oh, no. Zuck Boy, the lone horse, the lone battle cow. And finally, the support comes in. But yeah, they've turned the position around and moved into the room that realistically the defenders should be holding. And they're effectively displaced the defenders off the point. Now they'll have to come forward into this. The Maywall splits them up right there. There's not a lot they can do, but they are getting kills. Even as I say that, though, they start to turn it around, but it's Jazeev Gamer reaching back in from the grave and taking out Legend Dionysus, and they will hold, despite that looking, well, about as sloppy as a, I don't know, it was very sloppy.
Yeah, something was
sloppy
very
Joes.
We'll not go there. Chat, don't fill that in the blank there. I'm shocked that worked. As we saw Zuckboy, we talked about it being alone on the point, and then the Maywall from Legend coming out and just kind of separating the team, and that's what you don't want to have happen. You need to rotate and get on each other, but luckily for the side of Silhouette Tyrants, they were able to stop that, as it looks like the same attack mode is going to be happening here. It looks like the Reaper may be hanging back. No, he's going to get up there. Okay. I thought we may see a Reaper flank as they engage.
They're thinking about this rotation again, but again, they're holding this high ground position for such a long time. They only have like a tick to give up here, Skate, and again, they won't start
the wall
contesting
again.
until the other team starts contesting. The wall comes out and
nice
causes
shatter.
havoc. Gets a good shatter on the backside. There's a good
Got a
immortality
touch,
field,
got a touch.
but the real problem is there's no touch. The Mercy comes up over the edge, trying to keep him in this, but so many ultimates being deployed now. There's really nothing they can do. The last living survivor there is burned down, and
Oh my.
I don't know what to make of it, to be honest, Skate. It's a bit of a shame.
It really is, and you got to question some of the decision making there on the positioning. The communication has to be there. You got to know that you have to rotate around and get there when you need to be there. I don't know what else to say about it. Like they're getting out positioned on this map.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the truth of the matter there is, at least in that defensive setup that they had, they were 100% getting out positioned. You kind of hate to see it.
Yeah.
The problem is that they came up onto the point just a little too late both times. And effectively, Skate, I mean, they surrendered point control before the fight had even started.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the truth of what had happened, is they had surrendered point control, and instead of them being the defenders, in both engagements, they felt like the attackers.
Yeah, I don't know what the thought process was there on the holding the high ground. It works if everybody's trying to push under the bridge. You can kind of do that where you hold the high ground a little bit, but not when you go up top. You got to rotate back, and you got to keep them in front of you. They essentially get behind you, and you're having to swing everything around. And those May walls were on point by Legend to try and separate that team. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that was a rough matchup there. I think Tyrants getting punched in the mouth just a little bit, not really able to execute a clear game plan, looking a little disoriented as well. So Overlord's definitely, I would say, taking the momentum off that one. I'm seeing a lot of chatter in our chat here about the fact that this isn't a good map for Tyrants, which is why they picked it. Or why did they pick it, I guess I should say. And
okay.
I can't obviously explain why they would pick it, but maybe they, 2CP Assault, it's hard. There are a lot of maps that people don't feel comfortable on. I mean, I think the vast majority of them, if we're being honest, are maps that people don't feel confident on. So, I don't know. It's a decision that is beyond my ken, and beyond the ken of yourself, Skate, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And just a reminder to everybody that this is first to 4. There's still a lot of room left here for Silhouettes to figure this out and right the ship, as it were. And the map selection has been made. So we will be heading to Rialto, as my phone goes off in the background and I mute it.
Yeah, didn't hear anything. You're fine.
Oh, good. So the RTX voice is working great. Blocking out that background noise. So Rialto is the
now
base.
I just want to imagine what your ringtone is, if I'm being honest.
Well, it's the weekend, but there you go.
Oh, okay. Damn, I'm a little disappointed.
Are you? Because I had to change it. It was Steve Winwood. We had that talk where I had changed it to Steve Winwood.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was Valor.
Back in the high life.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, definitely. Going into Rialto here, and again, this is a choice for me that feels a bit scary. If I was in the position of Tyrants, right? This is another map that favors that kind of ranged playstyle that we saw Overlord basically embrace. They became one with it. And they're putting Ash Kassar back in, which to me implies that they're thinking about running that May Ash again, right? This would be the natural reaction here.
Yeah, I would presume so. The Ash is a must for Haizama right now on that Ash. You got to stay with it. So no reason to change any of that. If you're on the side of Tyrants, we talked about it before, just not having the subs. So if someone's having an off day, you don't really have a bullpen to go to swap someone out. So I don't want to say that's the reason, because we haven't seen a lot of swaps on either side in particular, but it is one of those things you start to wonder about in the back of your head, and you may start questioning if it doesn't go your way the rest of the series here.
I mean, truth be told, I don't think there's a lot of motivation in this for Overlords to sub anyone out. Their setup, their setup. Yeah, it's not broke. Their setup's working pretty well. They're coming out almost on what? Oh no, actually, not really what I would have expected at all. They're running Ash, Kassar, and Hizama there on the Reaper and the Mei. A7 on a Diva, Banana Spliff coming out on. Did I just get my side swapped again? No, I didn't.
Yeah, nobody swapped, so we should still be blue and red.
I can't get my head around it. It's this EU pig. I'm blaming it on the pig.
That's fair.
Yeah, you know, it's got me all sorts of turned around here. Banana Spliff like coming out on the Rhine.
On the defense here is what we're looking at. Oh, look at this.
I think you are correct. Oh, hello. That's not fun. Oh, but they've been juked. They've been juked. Jazim is up on the high ground with a Bastion now.
Oh, no. They were going to Bastion strat.
Fight?
I think they expected it. I think Silhouettes expected the Bastion and decided to just go right up in their face.
Oh, no. Jazim drops out in
immortality.
the midst of everything. Amazing immortality, but not enough to keep Jazim alive. This pressure hold will work out to a certain extent, and it's kind of because Tyrants gave them that one just a little bit. I don't think that drop was particularly well executed.
No,
the parachute core would not be impressed. Trying to push around the inside edge here and just get a little bit of ground to stand on. They immediately swap off the Bastion. Jazim coming out.
That's a quick
huge EMP. That should bust this wide open. This forward hold, and it's Ritrix.
Big boop. Oh, what a pin!
Tries to make the difference. No! Centurion knocked out of it. Jazim goes afterwards, but they've taken down the raid boss Hizama. And now they'll just try and finish this one off, and sure enough they will. A7 DNA, the only one that left, and what a weird, wacky series of events right there at the beginning, Skate.
Yeah, you know what it was? It was Shades of Finland in the 2018 World Cup against the Koreans, where you just spawn camped them at the door and said, "We're not letting you out for anything."
Yeah, that's. I think you were right. I think they saw the Bastion, or they thought the Bastion was coming.
Yeah, I think they expected Bastion and just decided, we're not going to let you get that set up. And getting a lot of value out of this Sombra right now, too. All these ults, oh my god. All over the place right
down
now.
Bongo coming in. Gravitic Flux comes out on the tail end of that. Another EMP. It's got 4 on that one. The Death Blossom gets nothing. As Zuckboy, Welshie, and Jazim try to turn this run around. Still, we see Ash Kassar trying to fight this one out. There's a nasty little hack on Lord Advisory as well. And Ash Kassar meets Shotguns. And that is the end of that, and they'll continue to roll forward. The breath of life apparently being given to the folks here at Silhouette Tyrants.
Yeah, we see Hizama making the swap over to the McCree. I would like to see that Ash, just because I thought that Ash was a force to be reckoned with, and they couldn't even go with maybe a
Oh, Death Blossom in the backside! There's Jazim, he gets 2. Hello! Jazim trying to go for his natural predator, the McCree, in the back line as well, and he'll get him! As Centurion and Jazim combine for some big picks, and this brawl with the Sombra is strangely working out here for the folks over at Silhouette Tyrants.
I think Ritrix waited a few maps too late to break out this Sombra, because this Sombra is making things happen all over the place, and we're almost to a 3rd EMP here, and we're just now getting around to the corner after the first point, so a lot of value right now on that Sombra. Hizama apparently hearing me and switching over to that Ash. I think you just need to stick with what's working.
Well, the push coming forward on the front side. The Blizzard, that's a really good one. Centurion 11-11 can't do anything. Ritrix on the high ground building for that EMP. Now we need to see if they can just stay a little bit calm here, Skate, on the attack, regroup and make use of their ults. Jazim Gamer going down there is obviously a little bit unfortunate. Hizama gets Ritrix as well. And again, they really need the reset here. I can't overstate this enough. They need to get back into cover and regroup.
Yeah, and you know, it's like clockwork. They switched Hizama over to that Ash, and apparently it paid off, but we do have that EMP online of Ritrix, and we'll have to see if they can get some big value out of that, as that is the only ultimate coming online right now, as we're going to have a few come on in the middle of this fight.
Well, there's Ritrix moving into position, needs to get that EMP out early, goes for the hack on A7, A7 is down!
Here it is.
Now Ritrix with the EMP on the backside, that's 4! Go, go, go! That's the signal, they're all in and they can't do anything! Smashed, crushed, oppressed Ritrix, the hero of the hour on this Sombra Skate, and it has made all the difference.
Somebody on this Silhouette team needed to step up. Ritrix is that person. Now is the time. You don't have any more time to waste. This is best of 4. You don't want to go down 3-1. If you want to win this championship, you have to do it now, and that's exactly what Ritrix is doing, making plays. Huge!
Oh, they nearly get there, but it's a huge Gravitics over the top. Can they follow it up? The sound barrier is invested. The counter Gravitics. No, he doesn't get it off. A7 is burned down. Jazib gets 3. Jazib with 5 total. Never mind. I missed those first 2. There were so many kills. Jazib hits the biggest death blossom.
This is like a completely
through that
different
point.
This is a different team right now. I don't even know what to make of this. It's like they switched jerseys in the locker room between games, as it were. It's a completely different mindset.
I don't know what the cutter said to him in the corner, but my God.
Yes,
they have
bottle
come
that
back
up.
in.
They got some more of that Monstar juice, I think.
Wait.
The special sauce from Space Jam, because they are going all out right now.
They were not getting beat, Skate. They were just getting mad.
Yeah,
and we're seeing it on display here. And even as I say that, though, Jazib Gamer does get picked off at the back. That's a little unfortunate. Lord Advisory will go down, though. Ritrix hunting Sombra's favorite prey, which is a lone Zenyatta. Ritrix on the outside edge trying to get a hack off, has to translocate instead. Centurion is sent picking. Packing.
Yeah.
Picking as well. Picking his character change if he needs one, I should say. But not gonna happen. He's gonna stick with the Sigma, and they will regroup. But look who's still back there on the solo mission with the EMP.
Yeah, just lurking on that. I feel bad watching this as I see the Sombra stalking the Zenyatta, because I've been on the other side of that many a time, and it is not a fun place. Oh, that's all 6.
Oh, huge EMP, but can they follow it up with some kills? The team wasn't quite there yet due to the bomb. Ritrix, my son, will get 1, get 2, and again, they capitalize on the EMP so well, it's like it breathes life into the entire team. They'll just come storming forward here.
Oh my, this is wild. It's like they smell blood in the water, and everybody just pounces like a pack of sharks or something.
Oh, Jazib gets Ash and Lord Advisory. The Gravitic Flux comes out as well. They just can't stop him. Centurion gets 2. And they'll push this one in. And on the back of a humiliating map of Anubis, Tyrants come out and slug Overlords in the mouth.
Yeah, that is the counter punch that they needed. Look at 124 in the time bank too. Nothing to scoff at on Rialto. That is a great first time put up. Well, Overlords, you have some time to adjust now here. Hopefully you have a set play for offense, because you need to get something going, because Silhouette Tyrants just proved to you they are not done yet. They gotta find an answer, because all the momentum has shifted. It was all one-sided, and we talked about it earlier, how Overwatch tends to be a game of momentum, and that's exactly what snowballed all the way through the streets of Rialto, as we saw that Sombra of Ritrix. I don't know if we'll see it on the defense. It looks like they're going to come out with
we will.
On the defense. Yeah, as dominant as it was, there's no point in changing it. So
this chemical freaking X at this moment, whatever Ritrix is doing there on the Sombra. I mean, all credit to the team as well, who have just taken great opportunities to capitalize on the EMPs. I mean, Ritrix has been hitting really good ones, and it's never stopped the team. We almost saw them lag out there on the 3rd stage because of that Bob, but it didn't last for that long before they were kind of back on its gate. Instead, we're seeing Hizama on the Pharah, Ashkasar on the Echo, so a lot of flight being thrown out here, and Jazib Gamer might be in for a bit of a rude awakening on that Reaper.
Oh, look at this. Apparently this is the strat du jour in EU, as we just push up on the payload and don't let you set up.
Well, they're going to hold out here. This could go a little bit poorly for them, though. They really don't have anything to deal with Hizama here unless they want to play underneath. Hizama more than happy to just chuck in some damage. They'll send the Echo down as well. That's Ash Kassar. And now it looks like the defenders are the attackers, and the attackers are defenders as the cart continues to move. Hizama gets 2. Oh, this is a bit of a foregone conclusion. Hizama just destroying Hizama with 4.
Somebody
as A7 DNA.
My
comes
God.
in and gets it on the other side.
That was impressive by Hizama, because Hizama actually in the middle of all those kills got hacked by the Sombra, so firing from the ground to get a lot of those kills. It doesn't matter if Pharah's in the air or not, Hizama's just hitting everything. Oh my word, this is impressive. And this may be the swap that they needed, as we see the McCree now of Jazib to try and counter this pharmacy.
Yeah, the DPS really trying to set the pace here. Hazama goes around the outside edge, trying to get those shots in on the flank. Hazama is forced to come back behind the barrier. Good little pull there, not a lot of value out of it. Barrage low to the ground will get Richrix, my son, and if you were going to get anybody, that would probably be the person you would want to get. Unfortunate for the defenders here who are just kind of forced to give ground, and now Ashkasar and Banana Spliff getting in on the action as well, and they should just about have secured themselves first point. So setting a blistering pace here as well, coming into the second stage with 5 minutes on the clock, and we're not seeing Richrix deriving enough value out of the Sombra at this point in time.
No, that Pharah is proving too much. They need to do something to counter this Pharah. We haven't seen Hazama on that Pharah since Li Zhang, so a great choice here to swap, and knowing that they really don't have an answer for it on this wide open map of Rialto, and Hazama just getting all kinds of value, and Ashkasar on this Echo ultimate about to be online with one of the most devastating ultimates in the game. So Silhouette has to find an answer here, as the counter punch has been made by Overlord.
Spy checking for Richrix in the back. Richrix does have the EMP. It needs to go out early. It does. It's got 4. Can they make it count? No, Hazama gets the barrage in the back. That'll cut the value of that in half as Ashkasar and Hazama combine to shut down any value that could be derived from that EMP. And the team kill gong will gong. And despite the amazing performance that Tyrants put in on the attack, they are struggling to find their footing here on defense.
Yeah, they're going to be over 5 minutes to get to a certain point. It looks like, oh no, we're going to get a contest right at the very last second. 0.32 meters, but a big Gravitic
Gravitic takes him up off the point and allows the completion. And again, the DPS there to bat cleanup as Ashkasar and Hazama go on a murdering spree. All credit to Banana Spliff, to be fair. The Orisa and the tanks have gotten 1 or 2 in each of these fights, but the majority of the heavy lifting being done by Hazama and Ashkasar, who still has an ult skate.
Yeah, and Ashkasar and Hazama are working really well to put pressure into this backline. If you watch Hazama, all those rockets are going in onto the squishies. They're not even really worrying about the barriers of the tanks, as it were. Just putting all that pressure on the squishies, getting the quick fix, and Ashkasar has that beam that can just mow you down if you're under half, and they're using it to perfection right now.
Gravitic Flux coming out on the other side. Didn't quite, oh, they've got a couple. They will get some off the high noon. They'll cancel out Ashkasar's ult, which is actually huge here as Zuckboy pushes forward and gets some kills. Really can't overstate how big of a shutdown that was on Ashkasar's ult, considering just how long the Echo had been holding that for Skate. That basically was a 0 value play.
It really was, and it was just a nice Deadeye that was timing, unfortunately, for Ashkasar, and it looks like we're going to see the switch. Just picking out the Ash, trying to do something with that Echo ultimate, but like we said, Jazib just in perfect position and gets the play to shut that down. And you don't get a lot of the picks with the Deadeye, but that's the pick you needed if you wanted one.
Well, Hazama's got another barrage in the pocket. It's going to drop low. Here it comes any second. Now Jazib and Richrix were there. It was too obvious as the beatdown bongo comes out to stuff him on the front side. The Maywall comes in, but it's Richrix now on the Echo, repaying a little bit of the favor over the top here with those sticky grenades and just harassing these 2 tanks as they try and flee for safety. And what a play by Richrix and Jazib to counter out that barrage from Hazama before it could even get off the ground.
Yeah, that Hazama ultimate, I think, was just a quick to swap because they knew they were going to swap to the Ash, so they tried to pick out someone and just try and get a quick pick with it if they could. But the DPS swapping fast and furious from both sides, everybody trying to make the counter pick and try to counter what the other team's doing. But time bank right now, definitely in the side of Overlord, but Silhouette Tyrants are doing a great job on this defense of slowing down this attack. And as I say,
big pick early on. The Gravitic Flux coming out the other side. Tons of value out of that as well. She gets brought down as well. That will send them reeling just a little bit here. They've got double Oristas, though. That's not something you particularly want to see. Let's hope they can get the beatdown bongo out there, at least for their sakes. We haven't quite seen it. There it is. High Noon coming out here as well. Jazib won't get it off, but I think the double Orisa maybe should have preserved them through this initial push, and they will send the attackers packing there. Overlords having to regroup, but they do have some ults in the bank.
Yeah, Richrix doing a great job on this sector right now. We see more swaps, it looks like, but let's see, ult economy right now, it's just 1 or 2 apiece here. You got a support ult and a tank ult for both sides. I like this bongo that we're going to have set up by Banana Spliff. That's a lot of damage for Haizama and Ash, who have just been playing tremendously so far this map on the DPS. The tank stepping up on the side of Silhouette Tyrants and denying that space that Overlord wants so badly.
Well, here comes the push. Beat down Bongo out early. Rowley coming out on the other side almost immediately, just trying to up the armor totals here of the team. Still holding onto the window is KMY. Extended poke phase here, back and forth. Neither team really going in. They do have a Gravitic. Oh, it's a good Blizzard. Oh, no, wait. It gets eaten. Centurion eats the Blizzard, and then he pops the Flux.
Huge.
And he might have just saved his team from absolute disaster there at that last second as Centurion keeps getting these kills. Ritrix is there to help. And they'll push him back out the door, and they now have more time on the clock. And what a play by the off-tank Centurion.
My God, Centurion has stepped up a few times tonight when their team has needed it, and with some huge eats. That's the second Blizzard that I have seen that he has eaten, and just making the big plays when it happens, because that Blizzard ult is definitely devastating to a lineup that they're running. When you have like that Brig and Moira, there's nothing that supports can really do to get out of the way too badly. So huge ult to save the team as we see a little bit of a different mode of attack here on the side of Overlord.
Bob coming out now, throwing in some damage at the entrance. Ritrix will go down. Adaptive circuits for the double Orisa again. This was so deadly effective last time. If they can make it stick. They are lacking that Moira healing though.
That's a big
so Centurion
flux.
will go down. The Bongo comes in, but the Gravitic Flux takes away most of the advantage of that. The kill feed lighting up blue, but the respawn advantage in favor of the defenders. High Noon walled off on the backside. He doesn't get it. Oh, he does. He gets DNA. Can they turn it around? It looks like they can. The Brigida holding on desperately on the point gets crushed. Lord Advisory balled down on the backside. Ashkazar taken out as well.
That's it.
And they've done it, Skate. They've come back into this and tied this series up 2-2.
I am shocked by that. It looked like all the momentum of Overlord, they had done the swaps that they needed to do to get back into this map, but not enough. As we see, we're going to see a great little play by Haizama here. I think it was on the spawn camp. It is, and you'll see Haizama get hacked in the middle of this and still just keep the pressure going here.
just falls down and gets him on the drop, then turns around and pops them with the fire. Nicely done. I mean, what an insane match this is, Skate. Good Lord.
Yeah, we got a good one here. We got an instant classic brewing here as we got a 2-2 tie into this first of 4 series. So we'll have to see what the next pick is. We go back to control point now for the map choice. So we'll have to see what Overlord wants as far as that goes.
It's crazy to me. It's like Lijiang Tower writ large here. You know, those swingy matches. Yeah. Suddenly we come out of that Anubis, and honestly, you know, Tyrants looking like a kicked dog coming out of that. Did not go well for them at all, and then suddenly they just reach inside themselves, find the heart of the cards, or in this case the heart of the Sombra, and just power through. And then Overlords, of course, come storming back out on the attack, looking like they've, you know, regained control, and then suddenly Tyrants just puts their foot down one more time and holds the line. It's just absolute madness. These two teams just neck and neck here, but in the strangest, swingiest way.
Yeah, it's you don't see it that way. Usually it's somebody figuring it out and just getting kind of a feel for the other team and just kind of executing. And this has been back and forth, like you said. That those first 2 maps of Lijiang were a microcosm of this whole series. If you want to sum this series up, just watch Lijiang. That's what we're in for, I think. So this could go either way. Still, it's nobody's game yet. We still got possibly 3 maps to go here, because I don't think that any of the map styles we have left, maybe the hybrid, we can still get a tie on, because I think we go away from Assault after this. No more Assault maps.
I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching a thriller here. This is some good Overwatch actually for your midday on, what is this, a Wednesday? This is some good Overwatch for you.
It's Wild Wednesday.
It's Wild Wednesday to be sure, and it's good on you to be here, because you're not missing this. This is some high flying stuff. You would not think you were watching a diamond game, all things considered, or maybe you would, judging by the mistakes, but really some spectacular gameplay coming out from these two teams there. I'm fascinated to see where this one goes. I mean, after the last map, I think I would have been about ready to say that Tyrants probably was going to get rolled over on these last side, but they kind of found a strategy that worked from them. I mean, that Sombra was amazing, really actually just causing absolute havoc. And Overlord, I don't really think they thought had much of an answer for it. They came out on that Echo Pharah, which is an interesting composition and not necessarily the meta, but one that some people do like playing. Yeah. And they used it pretty well, Skate. They used it pretty well. I think the big problem that happened was Ash Kassar's ult getting shut down.
Yeah, that was big. That was the momentum stopper, I think. So you had the Deadeye come out by Jazib, and that was just all you needed to stop it. And the payload really didn't move much farther after that. It only moved a few meters, but you were close to the end. Great job, like we said, by the Tyrants just to kind of rally and get things where they needed to. So we'll have to see what happens on the next map, which will be Busan. So we'll have to see if we see more of that going on with Busan, some of that back and forth action. It can definitely go that way, given all the styles of the control point. So we're going to roll in any moment now, and we'll take you into that map as soon as we get it going.
I don't know. I think something might be wrong with your view counter on Twitch, because it just went down to 2 from like 52.
Yeah, I think it's calculating wrong, because it was holding around 50 for a while, then dropped to 2, and now it's holding strong at 21. We have no idea how many people are watching this stream.
Maybe people are just allergic to intense close quarters Overwatch. They're like,
maybe.
Oh man,
I don't know.
I really wanted to be here for the walkover. I didn't expect this.
Yeah, I can't make this kind of commitment.
I'm gonna go watch Twitch Warzone Rivals.
Screw this. I thought this guy played Hearthstone. What is this crap?
This guy played Hearthstone. Absolute fucking nuttiness here. Oops, pardon my French.
That happens.
Damn it, I've done so well. I'll bleep
it in post.
Bleep it, please bleep it in post. Please do. And actually, while you're at it, just sprinkle in some bleeps there across all of the production.
I really should. I think I should.
Yeah, it'll be a lot more entertaining. We'll try and get the content video of just unnecessary unnecessary CGL censorship coming to you real soon.
I can't wait. We are hardlined at 21 viewers right now. I have a feeling that number's not correct.
You're here, ladies and gentlemen, and you're here on Busan as they push forward into this. A dive coming out on the side of Kizama and company. Of course, they do have a name. It's Overlords, but sometimes it feels the other way around. Meanwhile, Tyrants here getting a more traditional setup, a brawly comp, and they want those fights on the point, and they're going to get one. And unfortunately, it does not go the way of Overlords whatsoever. No. They are sent absolutely packing. Good night, Irene. Don't try that again.
All right, we're going to be in for a brawl. It looks like a little bit of a swap here for some of the look on Overlord, as we saw an Ashe and an Ana come out. Let's see if they stick with that Ana. Nope, going to swap to the Baptiste is KMY. A little bit of an interesting strategy that just didn't work out, so we'll have to see if they can rally here, as a big anti-nade came out, but it didn't matter. Silhouette and Tyrants just flexing that muscle. It looks like they want to brawl a little bit more than Overlord right now.
Well, there was a brief moment there where they tried to dip their toe into something new. It wasn't quite to their taste, so they're back to the old reliable. The mac and cheese of comps for them at the moment.
Yeah.
Fighting it out here, though, and Ixiers, who's been added in this time around on that Orisa, gets destroyed. And they'll follow up the rest with just absolute destruction on the part of the main tanks. And the off tank getting in on the action as well. There was a good shatter to kind of let them follow up.
Yeah, and a nice coalescence there by Richrix, my son, to keep everybody up and kind of enable that engagement to happen. Everything was kind of stagnant, and then that coalescence comes out, and that just gives Centurion the green light to go, 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 and that's exactly what he did on that Reinhardt. You love to see it. As a Moira player, at least, I love to see it.
So rotate back here now. Ixier's coming forward, throws that barrier down, just trying to generate a little bit of space here for the team. The Brigida swinging away on the outside edge as the High Noon comes on the backside. No value to be had out of that, though. Joseph Gamer has an ult as well. That's the Reaper there, and he'll be looking to use it. You can see him pushing forward, doing to do exactly that. The Immortality Field ghosts him out for half a second. He's got to come out of it and do it here. No, he'll hold off. The bomb was enough, I guess they decided, to be disruptive, as Ash Kassar will copy it. The Death Blossom finally coming in and not getting a lot of value out of it at all, but Ritrix, my son, opens it up there, and his son Ritrix getting in on the action as well, and they won't touch at the end.
They won't. A little miscommunication there, I think, on who was going to touch when, and we see the first point going the way of the Silhouette Tyrants.
Well, that's a momentum swing if ever I've seen one. Right back on the other way now. It's like one of those it's one of those little Newton cradle sort of things, Skate. You release the ball on one side and it smacks the other one off the other end. Like, it just keeps going on. Because this theoretically, now it should be said, I guess, it should be said that the last time we played a control map, it did go to Tyrants, and this does seem to be a map type that they like. They play well on.
Yeah,
all things considered.
And the funny thing is, it just may be control points in general, because it was Overlord's pick, and you only have a certain amount of maps, and it's just their strong point. That's just unfortunate if you're Overlord, but we'll have to see if the adjustments get made here as we see Ritrix on the Doomfist. This is the first Doomfist we've seen.
Oh, hello, Doom. Gets in there, gets a little punch, gets right back out. Zuckboy getting the early pick on Ixiers, though, who does seem a little bit out of their depth right now, as Centurion finishes off Ash Katar, and that will be, or Ash Kassar, my apologies, and that'll be the hard attack here. Hizama gets Ritrix, my son, in the back, and the team very spread out here at the moment, but it's not going to work to their disadvantage. They are able to isolate these targets and take them down, and Tyrants will get the early first pick, or first cap here.
Yeah, just picking up where they left off on the first map, but we saw this a little bit on Liu Zhang, so we'll have to see if either team can get back into this thing. We don't see any swaps here, but we do see Hizama with that Deadeye already, so putting in the damage early.
Walled out there are the two tanks. There's not a ton of follow-up on it at all, but it was certainly a scary moment there. Lord Advisory gets burned down as the Doomfist all comes in over the top, but they barely need it here. It was more of an escape than anything else, as A7 is burned out and broken, and they'll go back up to this full door hold.
Yeah, you gotta see a swap maybe here soon. Ash Kassar close to that Blizzard, and that may be what they're waiting on to pounce with, is that Blizzard. You just gotta make sure that it doesn't get eaten. But we have Zuckboy on the Diva, and it's not Centurion on that Sigma anymore. So, oh Maya! Big shatter there to start this engage.
Big shatter coming in. They've got the 2 DPS on the flank here. They've kind of opened up the door here. Ixier's coming through. The Blizzard there will successfully shut things down. They're forced to invest the sound barrier from Lord Advisory. A dangerous situation for A7, who really doesn't have the health to be doing this, but the rest of the team will push up. Unfortunately, Hizama, who's been as quiet as a church mouse through all of this, will be taken out early on as they try and brawl their way forward onto this point. The Coalescence is helping them out. Dual Diva bombs in sync, and it's Lord Advisory who will go down there to Zuckboy's bomb. Not the other way around, as Ritrix gets a punch in here as well. Ritrix, my son, following up their offspring there with a good kill as well. And once more, the door is shut, and it looks like Tyrants might just power through this one without giving up a single tick.
Yeah, 90% here. Ritrix looking for wherever that Lucio is going to try and come in and touch, because it's got to be the Lucio. They are coming from underneath. Gets the wall out, but it looks like Ryan's going to be able to touch there.
Well, they'll drop in, but the kill feed all red. Hizama tries to get something off on the high ground, can't do it. Hizama, the lone gunman, we've seen it before, but it's not going to happen this time. KMY trying to hold on now, and the last person standing is A7 DNA, the ball, who's knocked off over and out. And it's a solid map win there for Tyrants. Ooh. Didn't even break a sweat.
No, that's full 100-0 on all. Or I should say on both of those. We didn't go to all three, so both of them 100-0. That's impressive, and we saw another eat on the Blizzard, unfortunately. So, you know, Ash Kassar having a tough go on that May, getting the Blizzard value as they just keep getting eaten over and over again. Just a great job by the tanks of Silhouette Tyrants, who have tried to put this team on their back and just play with that aggression that has got them back into this game.
Just doing my part.
I gotta tell you what, Skate, that is a rough turnaround there for Overlords. Now they're gonna, I hope, claw this one back a little bit on the next map. Again, Silhouette Tyrants did win the first control point as well. It is a map type that does seem to favor them, at least a little bit. And I'm interested if we're seeing kind of the Tyrants resurge here, or if Overlords can kind of dig in their heels and turn this one around.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and it will be Overlord's map choice. So they get, the good news is, if they're going to win this thing, they don't have to play a control point again. So at least you have that in your pocket that you don't have to worry about. The bad news is you did lose on the hybrid, and if you're going to win this, I believe you're going to have to play another escort map here. So I don't know what the answer is here. We'll have to see what the pick is. It's Kings or Eichenwald at this point, as we will go to the hybrid next. We'll have to see what fits their style. I think Eichenwald fits their style a little bit more than Kings Row, but we'll see what they favor, as everybody kind of loves Kings Row when you're put to the task and you want to play, when you have to play a map.
Yeah, you're right. It is the bread and butter, isn't it? It's we come back to this when we're scared. The
Yeah,
comfort map, if you will.
It's our comfort map.
And there's a really interesting decision being made here, and obviously you guys can't see this at home, but Anarchist 34 is being put in for Hazama, which is a big choice, considering that Hazama has been kind of the fiery DPS heart of Overlords here so far in this match. Subbing them out now is very interesting, and I mean, I was gonna say before I noticed that, Skate, Hazama basically a non-factor on the control map there. We really didn't see anything from him.
Yeah, I agree. It was like Hazama wasn't even, or Hazama, it wasn't even in the map. I don't think I said his name one time. So gonna make the swap here, but we are gonna go to Eichenwald, it looks like, for the map choice. It's interesting. And we are gonna have another swap on the is it the support there? Yeah, we have the support KMY for Anarchist. So it looks like we swapped some roles around as well there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A974H is coming in as well. I can get another DPS slot. Banana Spliff and A7 DNA are going to remain. And we did say that Overlord does have, I think, the biggest bench I've seen so far in the playoffs. They have about a full 6-7 players on there, so they do have the ability to make these swaps.
Yeah, they do have that luxury, as it were, as you hate to say it, but sometimes you're forced into playing on these times because of the way these finals work, and I hope that's not why they don't have as many players on the other side showing up. If I remember right, the roster wasn't quite as deep either on the website, so we'll have to see if the swaps. I don't think there's any swaps from the other side, is there? It looks like Hazama was not supposed to come out, also. So.
Okay then.
Yeah.
That renders a good 30-40 seconds of discussion moot here on your Overwatch broadcast. Hazama back in the lineup, now partnering up with, it looks like, A974H, the new standard DPS line robot coming out of Europe. So we'll have to see what he can do. I love it. I don't know, what do I refer to him as? A97?
Oh my word! I don't know. And it looks like my view counter might be fixed finally again. It looks like we're back up to 48 here. Yeah, 8974H. That Omnic wrecked havoc during the war.
He did. Yeah, he's wanted. He's a wanted bot. He's got big bounties on his head. Somewhere in France, all the car assembly manufacturer robots are cheering right now.
Yeah,
their hero is in.
Up and just like
let's go. Yeah, robotic arms up in the air. Let's all up the robots. But no, it's an interesting swap here. I think Ash Kassar going out, and obviously A974H. We love you. Good luck, bud. We're not.
Yeah,
but
make your presence
it's an interesting
known
swap.
They will be attacking first.
They will be attacking first, which is an interesting choice. Eichenwald also an interesting choice. It's the first time I think we've seen it so far in the playoff games that I've casted. Skate, I mean, I know we played this in our playoff match because we do tend to like this map, but
yeah,
it's a choice that I think does favor Overlord depending on the style they want to run. If they go back to that poke strong meta style that they were running with the Baptiste and the Sigma, the Double Shield, the Zen, I think this map really favors them. If they try and play, they haven't quite bottled that lightning again though. They didn't really try it on Rialto. They tried some different stuff. And if they can bottle that lightning again, this is a good map for them to kind of throw the bottle, as it were. Yeah,
it really is, and we have swap sides here. So Overlord will be in the red this time, and Silhouette Tyrants in the blue going into this. So Silhouette Tyrants, I did mention Overlord was attacking, but that was Silhouette Tyrants' choice to defend first. So they are of that notion that they do like to defend first here. So we'll have to see if that was the right call for them, as the Wrecking Ball doesn't quite make it to the point before falling off. We'll have to see if that was a last-second change here. Yep, going to move to the Sigma Centurion. I had a feeling that was it. And right on cue, A974H on the Echo, of all things.
Love it. Actually love it. That's just perfect. Of course. Running this double flyer comp, actually, Skate. We saw them use this to decent effect on Rialto. They kind of steamed forward when they initially ran this. Up in the sky now is Ritrix on the Pharah, who's run into a little bit more Air Force than he expected, as they do a little recreation of the World War II air battle here in the skies over Eichenwald. But it's just him who gets the first kill with some ground fire. Goodbye, Hazama. They'll return him back, but Ritrix is taken down by the anti-aircraft shots as well. And now it's just a fight going back to the point here as they try and bottle up Tyrants on the backside of the lighthouse. Big space coming in here from Hazama, who's shown the Pharah skill before.
God, Hazama.
And Hazama, speaking of before, gets 4 right here as they drop onto the point, and that'll turn that one around in an instant.
Yeah, and it looked like, it looked like we were going to have Jazib get the better of Hazama there, and it just wasn't the case, as we saw the early pick and then the res come out from Lord Advisory to get it back up, and that left the game is not a big deal. It looks like it was one of the bench players that left, so we trudge on through the streets of Eichenwald here, I guess, or the back roads of Eichenwald to get into the castle, I guess.
Up in the air now, dropping a couple of shots in over the top. The window, though, will come out. Unfortunately, the car passing through the window as well does not go faster or do more damage. Could you imagine if the car did damage? That would really be something. Extended poke phase coming in here as they batter and grab them. Extended poke phase, really not a lot going on, but there's a cheeky little flank coming out by Jazib Gaming, who gets in the back and starts fighting with Hazama. Can't finish Hazama off. No, he does eventually, but it took him a little too long. A banana spliff turns around and says, oh, I don't need a DPS. I've got this gravity driver or whatever it is. I'll do it myself.
All right, we do see the ultimates online, both echoes, so this could get a little wild here as we may see 7-on-7 action here.
Rabbinic's coming out. Jazib just burned A974H right out of the air, and that's going to make things a little bit harder for the attackers here. Oh, it's a grab. He only gets 2. The counter Gravitic comes out almost immediately, but they've cloned the Orissas, and it's a bad wall out there from Anarchiste. Just a little too far forward here. Can't really get too much value out of it. The kill feed is lighting up blue, but Jazib Gamer's ult is shut down in the back line by A974H, who will choose discretion there instead of Valor and floats back over to his team.
Yeah, and A974H is the only one with an ultimate online, so we'll have to see what the choice is here, as it looks like some swaps are being made on the side of the Silhouette Tyrants. We see Ritrix over to that Tracer, Zuckboy over to that Diva, and Centurion on that Reinhardt. So mass changes here from this lineup on the fence.
Mass changes indeed. Adaptive circuits coming out here. They'll clone the Tracer on this one. Doesn't get much value out of it at all. Is almost instantaneously knocked out of it as the fight kind of boiling around the keep here. They can't quite get this footing that they want. They've decided that it may be best for them to try and come up the outside edge. Unfortunately, they'll reverse back. It's back to the bridge instead. Never mind going to the castle. You saw Ritrix come there on the tracer for a second into the back line. Didn't get much out of it. Will go right back with the relocate. Gonna come in a second, though. He sees targets. I mean, he wants to get pressure on that Zenyatta in the back line, but the peel very much there. Ritrix taken out. Now the Transcendence thrown in here. Hizama will get a pick. There's not a lot they can do but hide behind the cart, as over the top comes the Echo trying to cause havoc. But it's A7 DNA who steps up there and gets the three big finishes to push this through.
A7 putting on a clinic there, batting cleanup and just finishing things up. The way a lot of Sigma's gonna do, just get them low and he just starts chucking those little balls he throws at you. And there's not a lot you can do because of the range of them and the fact that they bounce. So it's just a great cleanup utility, and 8-7 taking full advantage of that. You're going to set them up here because Overlord has 3 ults online, none right now for Tyrants as I speak, but there are going to be a couple coming online fast. I expect that Shatter will come out very quickly.
Whoa, there's the Gravitic up into the air, drops down. Big play by A7, who's tapped some inner strength we hadn't previously seen, as Hizama throws the bomb in there as well. And they used pretty much every ult that they had there, I think, Skate, to push this one through, with justifiably good results, though.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if it's going to be enough for this counter push. We're going to see ults coming out on the side of Tyrants, going to engage with that Coalescence. It's going to open up this Shatter.
Shatter comes in. It's a good one. The Immortality Field, though, canceling out a lot of the damage. Hizama getting the pick. Banana Split going down on the other side. A Rove damage orb finds him. Rally will come out now to give a little bit of armor and basically secure the tail end of this fight as they just do cleanup. And I'm going to be honest with you, Skate, I actually think they could have held on to that rally.
I think the rally could have been held too, because that armor should go away by the time we get another engage, so it may have been a little bit of a waste there. But in the moment, you get antsy and you're just ready to make the plays, and that's exactly what they did. They just want to make sure they get this stopped, and that's exactly what happened. So not a lot of ults coming the other way. We're just going to have that amplification matrix and then probably the Echo ultimate online here as well for the attackers of Overlord. But we got the Diva Bomb of Zuck Boy online for the Tyrants in the defense. Big shot.
Ooh, his bomb gets picked early on by Jazib. Now Ritrix will go in. Ritrix got the Discord orb on him, but it doesn't stop him from at least getting one pick before he's brought down. And once more, they'll show the Overlords the door here, and they'll fall back towards their spawn and regroup. You know, they do have kind of on the defense, they do have that kind of hell combo of the Doomfist and the Brigida. When you give the Doomfist armor pack, he is a monster. Even more of a monster than he usually is.
Yeah, because he's already getting his temporary shields from landing his abilities, and you're throwing armor on top of that that's going to give the damage reduction and the increased health. That's a lot to deal with on the side of Silhouette Tyrants.
Speaking of Doomfist, out he comes, but it's the Diva Bomb over the top. The Diva Bomb won't, the Transcendence won't save him from that, but it does keep him up to the follow-up. The Dragons have split the team. Ritrix takes advantage of it to get some picks. Jazib is in there as well. Reinhardt coming forward, swinging away, trying to get Ritrix out of the fight at least. Does not get a chance for the hammer down. Was about to use it there when they got popped back ult. Oh no. Zuckboy, Jazib combining there to just drive him back to the door, and Overlord struggling a little bit here on the final stretch.
Yeah, Jazib hitting a well-needed shot on A974H, because if he didn't hit that shot, there was nobody to answer the Echo in the back line, and that may have swung this entire fight. A big arrow coming off of that bow of Hanzo. But we saw another great Transcendence by Lord Advisory to keep everybody up through that dragon that came out and right through the middle of the team after the Immortality Field was already used.
Gravitic's coming out on the backside. It's actually a pretty solid one. Got a few targets in it. If they can get Doomfist out of it, it'll make a big difference. They don't quite get him, though. Out comes the damage bongo. Centurion 1111 goes down early. They know where the Doomfist is. The pressure coming in there to bring him down, and it's a combined effort of 4 members of the team to get Doomfist out of it. They still have the window if they choose to use it here on the final stretch. Holding onto the window, the Coalescence coming out now on the other side. Still has the window. The window comes out. There's a charge in on the other side as both shields are thrown down. But Ritrix will get A7 DNA. Ritrix gets another one. Ritrix trying to go for 3. Ritrix does get it, and Ritrix, my son, comes in, and the Dragons almost an afterthought there to clear off the point entirely. And that is that. They will not complete all 3 points.
No, I really thought they were going to get it there on that attack the way it started. You had the 2 picks initially and that 4v6, but there's just, I think that's, at that point they were missing a Lucio. They had the Brig up, but I think a Lucio is where you needed it. You needed the speed. You needed to engage and pounce when you had the 4v6. It allowed the side of Silhouette Tyrants to back up and kind of regroup a little bit right in front of the spawn doors and get the 2 picks back and get it online. And you had Ritrix down, and that was your chance to step up. And unfortunately, Ritrix was able to get back in before you could really push that payload the rest of the way in.
Well, here we go. A lot on the line here for everyone involved. This could be match point quite easily. If they can just get this 64.11 meters past the doors of that castle, they will walk away with the win here. Overlords, of course, have to put up a sterling defense, and to be honest, Skate, I think it's well within their capability based on the kind of the evidence presented to us on that last map.
Yeah, this is one that could be that back and forth style, and I think the last payload map was a little bit that way too. Or not the last payload, the last hybrid map that we saw earlier on was that way when we were playing in Hollywood. If you remember, it went 3-3, and then we had to get it in the OT. But Overlord being victorious in that one, so we'll have to see if they can muster some of that on the defense to try and rally here as we see Haizama back onto the Farah for point number 1 here.
Well, here you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's your T3 EU Xbox Finals. Could be the final push. Match point on the line for the Silhouette Tyrants here as they shove their way forward onto Overlords, who are holding a desperate defensive position on the backhand side of the point. Oh, an early pick out there for Lord Advisory will rob the Pharmacy of its better half at the moment. You see the damage coming in over the top, and it's Soup Boy in the back gets Anarchist out. Well, she will go down, but it's not enough. And this first point take is fast and furious, and Overlords are sent reeling on that.
Yeah, they made quick work of that defense, and we'll see if we get some wholesale changes. That we do. We see that more meta comp that you were talking about coming out. They're going to that double shield with the Zenyatta and the Baptiste. Haizama back onto that Ashe. It's all out right now. This is all you got. You've got to make a stop here because this thing can snowball out of control very quickly, and then this match will be over.
Lord Advisory getting taken down early on, though not the way they wanted to start this off. Centurion, though, melted on the opposing side, so a bit of a trade there. The shots coming back and forth now on the main side, but there is an Echo up above. The 2 Echoes actually dueling it out over on the backside. Haizama feeling the pressure there on the Ashe. Retreats into cover. Now has a little bit of an opening as Echo has to loop back around, but she's going to take the Zed out again.
Oh my word.
The Gravitic Flux coming out on the front end. Might get some value out of that. Ace 974H gets a pick on Ritrix as the window comes out here. The Diva going up to the high ground to contest Haizama, forces the Ashe back down. Throws the dynamite over the top. The beatdown bongo's coming out early on, trying to change the course of this, but it's a Diva bomb off the backside. Gets no value because Haizama is there, and he's got both of the support players down, and they're going to use that to just push forward and crush anyone who stands in their way.
That was a long, extended fight, too, as we see Lord Advisory getting back into that after getting picked very, very early in this. So a lot of back and forth, a lot of brawling, and we see the ults online for Silhouette. That was maybe an ill-advised little pull there, able to stagger that that Diva and extend this defense as they are trying to eat away at that clock, which is now getting under 4 minutes. That's one thing to keep an eye on here, is that time to move this payload, as it will be the biggest factor in this push.
I mean, truth be told, they've got a hell of a way to go, Skate. They basically have to complete the map. Decent split positioning here from the defenders. Echo immediately going up to try and take that out. Lord Advisory again. Ritrix has been all over Zenyatta this entire time. A Shatter comes in, but they'll throw out the Immortality Field. Haizama gets wrecked on the backside with the cloned Ritrix in the back on the Ashe. Doing a little bit, if you can do it, I can do better there on the backhand side. Throws in a bomb on the back half, and that'll signal the end of that defensive hold on the corner. They should have enough time to regroup here, though, Skate.
They should have another recontest. We'll have to see if they can get it together and figure out the recontest spot here. As Ritrix on that Echo is scouting the angle of attack, and you have Centurion on that other door. So they are going to try their best to prevent the side of Overlord from even getting to touch his payload and try and contest, but we see A7 getting in there.
Window coming out early on, but they get absolutely no value out of it. Centurion and Welshie combining to just break the back of this attack before it can even begin. And the kill feed lights up blue. It's only A974H left holding on there. And my lord, Skate, I think Silhouette Tyrants might just have this.
They might. It's shaping up that way with 4 minutes to go. Is an eternity on Eichenwald to try and hold this defense. But if there is a place you can do it, it's in the Eichenwald Castle. It is a hard place for the offense to push through, as we saw when it went the other way on attack.
Out comes the Gravitics. Javiz will get taken down early on. They start to push forward here. They're trying to just secure the outside edge. A couple of shots coming in. The Echo really trying to throw in damage from the backside. But Hizama makes Ritrix play for their hubris there with a good shot to take the Echo down and send him back to the spawn room. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if they push this cart through to the end, that is it.
Yes, that will be game, set, match, season. Everything will be done. But I do like this setup, I guess, personnel-wise of Overlord versus what Silhouette Tyrants is going to do. Because that Echo, you don't get as much value usually inside these close corridors.
Ritrix shuts down again. Double bongos coming out. There's a high noon in here as well. They have to keep the shields up through it so they don't get full value. Bomb thrown straight into the mix of it. Hizama stepping up to the plate to help the team when they need it. And there's A974H getting in on the action as well. But the 2 DPS coming up strong, and it's 2 minutes 45 seconds now.
Oh, Hizama getting the stagger on Welshie there. That's big. That's going to eat up a lot of this clock.
These staggers are absolutely killing him right now. They saw Ritrix go down in a similar position last time. Welshie will come back in, so it'll slow down the regroup just a little bit. They do have 3 ultimates on deck. No ults to be spoken of on the other side. Only Anarchiste here with a window coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be close here at the end as we see the Echo.
Oh, window, paywall, all sorts of disasters coming in now. They have to get some picks early on if they want to win this. The Immortality Field already burned down, but it's just gets 3. Zokboy and Centurion come in, and the road is open for the Silhouette Tyrant. Hizama, the only one left alive, gets burned down, and it's going to take an absolute miracle for them to recontest this before it reaches the end.
Lucio.
Go, go, go! There's
It's
no stall, and it's over! Silhouette Tyrants will come through with the win. After a rough start, they'll pull it out there.
Oh, you gotta wonder if Lord Advisory had made the swap to the Lucio to try and get back in touch instead of staying on the brig, had they been able to get there. Because your Orisa had the Fortify. You can fortify through any of the slowing down effects and the speed boost to get back. I don't know if it would have mattered in the fight because you were going to be down players, but you got to wonder how much of a difference it would have made if you could have actually got back there and touched and contested there.
It's true. I mean, at the end of the day, too, there were some swaps that came in on this map. Eichenwald, they put in some new players. I don't think that they're not to blame necessarily for the loss, but it maybe messed up their value just a little bit in the sense that it was some people coming out with cold hands, what have you, coming off the bench. But at the end of the day, Skate, I mean, what really made the difference in that final fight was the ult differential, and that was just kind of the sad truth of it. They had to throw in a lot of ultimates the fight before that just to win, and they just didn't have anything. The slow grind of the ult economy, I think, did not work in their favor.
Yeah, I think it was, and it was a game of inches at times because a few of these maps were very close and could have went either way, but in the end, Tyrants, hats off to them. They were the #1 seed in this division, or I'm sorry, in this tier, and proving why. They have the durability, and they were able to make the swaps they needed to make and get things done. It was just an impressive rebound by them, as it looked like Overlord had this thing fully in their grasp, and it was over after it was 2-1.
And you know, the real truth of the matter was, it was the Rialto map with Ritrix on that Sombra. Kind of gave them the confidence and the momentum they needed to push forward through what was a very swingy series.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that made a huge difference there. And we never really saw Overlords, I think, quite reach the level of skill that they were at prior to that Rialto map.
No, it was just that momentum was all on their side, and as soon as that momentum stopped, they really never quite got it back to where it felt like they were able to do whatever they want, because there was a time there where it looked like they could do no wrong, and then the Sombra on Rialto just put a screeching halt to that, as Sombras tend to do at times.
They do indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that about does it for us here. You do have your EU T3 Finals champions. That will be the Silhouette Tyrants there, winning it out 4-2 over a very strong Overlords team in an absolute screamer of a match here today on your Wednesday. Some spectacular stuff from both sides, but in the end, Tyrants just proved to be the stronger team, and they do take the win. Any final thoughts here, Skate, before we wrap up the broadcast?
I would just like to thank everybody for tuning in. It was a great turnout here. We had a lot of people watching, and the chat was popping there. So we got some more action later tonight. Make sure you are following that stream schedule channel and have the stream ping roll so that you know when these matches go live and when you can watch them, because we're going to have some Tier 3 action tonight, and then Tier 4 tomorrow. Tier 4 and 5, I think,
all
tomorrow.
Sorts of action.
Yeah, Tier 4 and 5 tomorrow.
Action
we'll have
everywhere.
the grand finals, and the granddaddy of them all, Tier 6, the big one, will be Friday night on CGL1. You don't want to miss that.
Yeah, that one for all the marbles, really, in terms of prize pools, so definitely a match to watch. The top talent on display there. But from all of us here at the Console Gaming League, thank you so much for playing with us through this Overwatch season. If you are an EU Tier 3, we appreciate your support, and we hope you had a good time. And thank you for joining us for the broadcast today. It was an exciting match. Congratulations once more to the Silhouette Titans on their T3 EU Championship. From all of us here at the Console Gaming League, have a wonderful day and stay safe.